You're joining us from today. Welcome to today's Informative Friday session, which is Payroll Processing Automation and HR Talent Reporting, being presented by Mona Pollard and Kelly Gilbert. My name is Molly Blasco. I will be helping moderate the session today. Please be aware that the session is being recorded. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat and we will answer them. A copy of the presentation and a link to the recording will be sent to all registrants. And then next slide. Hopefully you are a little bit familiar with Nordic and Nordic ERP services. If not, just providing a brief background. Nordic provides a broad range of consulting services, including strategy, advisory, digital and cloud initiatives, implementation and support, as well as managed services. In partnership with our clients, we help solve complex IT challenges to help make technology more useful for care teams and more beneficial to the business. We consistently deliver business-changing impacts that make health systems and the people they serve healthier. On the next slide, if you're thinking about moving to the cloud or if you're going through an ERP selection process, Nordic's advisory service offers unbiased ERP reviews and selection services. We can help you identify the benefits of moving to a cloud ERP solution, manage the selection process, and measure the results. If you've already made the decision to move to the cloud, Nordic's prescriptive implementation process will ensure you follow a best practice approach to get the most out of your software for the least cost in the quickest amount of time. And for those organizations that have already made the move to a cloud, at about 6 months after go live and every year after, we recommend you have Nordic perform an optimization assessment to make sure you have realized the value of the implementation and are taking advantage of the new features. Nordic is there for you no matter where you are in your ERP journey, and we encourage you to reach out to one of our solution experts via our website, or you can shoot me an email and I can put you in touch with someone. Quick disclaimer, the material in this presentation is in reference to Infor Cloud Suite and is for informational purposes only. Just want to provide you with considerations as you make the best decision for your organization. Reliance on the information presented without consultation is at your own risk, and we highly recommend that you contact Nordic to discuss how solutions can be tailored. With that, I will turn it over to today's presenter, Mona, who is our practice leader in HCM.
Good morning, I'm Mona Pollard. I have about 20 plus years in the Infor ERP space. I am the practice lead mostly over HR, payroll, and benefits. Kelly.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Kelly Gilbert. I am the Director of Service Delivery here at Nordic Global. I oversee Mona, or attempt to, because she's actually smarter than I am, as well as our support services offerings. And I am here to monitor the chat and answer any questions that you might have. Take it away, Mona.
Today, we're going to discuss the new Infor Process Payroll Cycle functionality and some Infor Deliver reports, payroll regulatory, and some human resource talent reports that some of you guys may not know that are out there. So the Process Payroll Cycle. It is used to process individual cycle actions within one action. It allows the following actions in sequence after each one is completed successfully. So you have your calculate overtime, your lock payroll, your calculate payments, your print payments, and your close draft only. One payment schedule can be run at a time under each action, and process payroll cycle action cannot execute the payroll close. It must be run separately to finalize that close section. And also, this does not include any absence transactions that you want to process. They also has to be done outside. It will only process those actions listed above. Here is the payroll process cycle. One of the things is that the payroll process cycle will not be valid if a payment schedule is in when you're running assigned tax deductions is required. So whenever that is required, you will see a little triangle message box there next to your payment schedule telling you that is required. You must do that first before the action can even be seen. Next up, once you've completed that and there are no other issues, when you right click on your payment schedule, now you have the Process Payroll Cycle action. And once you click on it, you will receive a pop-up box. If Calculate Overtime is visible, that it will default to being checked. You can then decide whether or not you want to rerun it or errors only. And then proceed. If you don't want Calculate Overtime to proceed, then you can uncheck that box. And then the first thing it'll do will be lock and then calculate the payments. You enter the payment date and any other information. On the second tab, if your draft closed, if you want to run your close and draft, you can now. If you don't, you can change that run option to none and your close will not run. If the payment schedule is eligible for overtime, but overtime is not required, the Calculate Overtime checkbox is not displayed. Therefore, you will run the lock and then the check date. Once that is complete, and you see completed on your cycle processing screen under calculating payments, then you will be able to move forward and execute your print payments and close draft only. If you need to rerun the Calculate Overtime or Calculate Payment process, you must first be required to unlock the process to start over. And the print payment action is optional. It is only available when one bank account is assigned to a payment schedule. If multiple bank accounts are assigned to a payment schedule, you must run the print action for each bank code separately. So once you click on the print action, process payroll cycle, you will click the print payments, then it will open up all the parameters. It will automatically grade out that payment schedule and that particular bank code. Starting check number, you will have to enter that, but it does include the starting receipt number. You can check or unchecked pre-notify. You can put in your ACH date and any information and whether or not you want to print hourly rates. And once again, if you want to close, you can choose run option draft or none. Any questions? No, thank you. Reports. The payroll register.
Actually, Mona, I had a question. Sorry, I had one pop up. I
Yes.
can run multiple schedules at a time, correct? So let's say I had 72 payment schedules. They can all be run simultaneously, correct?
Yes, based on the number of threads and that you have available, and you may submit them, but they may all just sit there in your waiting queue until one finishes before the other, because it also
Perfect.
depends on your threads.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, reports. Payroll register and payroll detail listing. The payroll register is used to report payments and totals from non-closed payroll payments. You have the payment detail listing is used to report payments and totals from your closed payroll. And then you have the off-cycle register to report any of those payments and totals created under the off-cycle. The payroll register and payroll detail, if you're familiar with S3, they are similar to PR 140 and 141. And here's the payroll register. Infor has also included totals at the end of that report, but you can only get totals on totals by payment schedule, totals by legal entity, totals by location, and totals by organization unit. List for closed payments does not present totals. And if you want any of those options, you must go into the charts and change it. By default, list for closed payments is selected first. And here is what your register and payroll detail listings will look like. It has all your earnings, your employer paid absence. If there is any ACH information, it will have that information too. And then here is a total by your organization, what it looks like. And then here is the grand total for the entire company. Next up, we have a garnishment history, which lists all garnishments processed from a closed payroll. Inside that, you also have a posted garnishment report, which lists all garnishments from a close that had a vendor assigned, and it's automatically sent over to AP processing. You will see the invoice number, invoice date, distribution, check date. The one things that you're not going to see is those details that come into AP, whether or not it was paid or anything like that. You won't see those details here, but this will give you information of at least the invoice information. Next up, you have a missing garnishment report. So in the garnishment history, you would click on the missing garnishment report tab. You would click on create garnishment report, and you would enter the parameters that you would need. You would give your report a title. If you only want it for a particular payment schedule or eligibility group, and you would create and you would enter the date range and you will submit it. And then the report will then show you any garnishments that were active during that time frame that were not deducted from that were not taken from considered from that payroll processing. Now, if the garnishment was active and it was considered, it will not be here. So it's only those that were not considered. Next up, Infor has delivered a wage analysis report that displays the comparisons between your current and prior payrolls based on hours and total amount earned to prove responsibility and verify there are no extraneous hours or bonuses. And here's an example of an employee. Here is their current pay period information, where they have 40 hours. Prior pay period, they had 80. And it does give a difference in variance. Next up, we have deductions not taken report, which provides payroll administrator with a consolidated list of scheduled deductions and one-time deductions that were not considered during payroll processing. So once again, these are just like the garnishment missing. These are deductions not taken. So these deductions were active during that pay period, but for some reason they were not taken. It could have been that they were entered late, or for some other reason, some changes were made, but when that payroll locked, these were not considered. Next up, we have pay rate history. It provides a listing of pay rate history reports by employee, transaction field, and documents with setup actions for history configuration, history templates building throughout the system. This is a great report because it will show you previous values, new values, any fields that you will need. So if I clicked on that employee and now I gone into the primary pay tab for that employee, here I can see all the pay rate histories that this employee has. And here's my old value and my new value. Any of these reports that I am showing you can be personalized to add new fields that can be added here for your for things that you may need additionally. Here is the all pay rate history, which means that this is all payroll history from every work assignment. If you can notice here, this employee has 3 work assignments, so this is pay rate from each of their work assignments. And then all pay fields. So all pay fields is any field that was included on that action and was changed during that action. You will see all those. And it also give you a pay progression on the primary. the primary pay rate. You can use the charts and change it to whichever or work assignment you would like also. Pay rate history by transaction. Here's the transaction. Here's actions. Here's reasons. Here are the values. So this is one area that you can get, because we know that sometimes it's hard to get data when something was keyed, what was the effective date and the actions on reporting. So this is one area that you can get that in. Pay rate history by field. Okay, next up you have your total pay rate history, which is a total of the pay rate history. If the employee has other pay rates with field including total pay rate selected, then it will be reflected here also. So this employee, Hummer, has an other pay rate of 50,000 selected to be included in total pay. Therefore, the employee has a rate of $87,238.84 on the work assignment, which makes the total pay rate at $137 to $238.84. So just to be aware, if the value here for the current versus the total doesn't match, the first thing you want to go look at is look at their other pay rates, because that's where that amount is being calculated from. Here is a list of all pay rate fields included on any of those actions to include the pay rate history. Next up, we have position history, which once again lists all positions and all fields documents used to change an employee's position. You have the position, what was changed. On this one, you have the pay rate and the FTE was changed. And then all positions changed. If they have multiple work assignments, you will see that here on the all tab. So this person, once again, has 3 work assignments, and here are all their jobs. And here are the fields that was changed with each one. And then this is a list of all fields that you can get here. You can personalize this screen also. So just remember that personalization helps you get more details. A list of other payroll reports that you have are the payments, payment detail listing, the payroll checks. We talked about those. You got wage history, deduction history. You have your tax deduction history. The only difference between deduction history and tax deduction is tax deduction only lists those that are listed as taxes. Those deductions are also included under deduction history. There is not a wrong or right way to use, or which one you should use. You can use both or either, depending on what you're using it for. Manual payment audits, which list all of the audits changes to any manual payment that's created. You have employee deduction audits that will list any changes to an employee deduction, who changed it when, and what the new and previous value are. You have an employee deduction limit report. It is used mostly for like defined contributions. If you want to see somebody that's reaching the limit, say for instance, the limit this year is 23,500. You want to see anybody that's over 20,000 and see where they are, you can do that. Once again, this report is not limited to the defined contributions. You can decide whatever deduction code you want to use it for, but it is a great report to use. You have your posted payroll cycle summary and your posted payroll distributions. One is just the summary. Your posted payroll distributions are the detailed information by employee, by pay code, by deduction code that goes over to GL once you close your payroll. If you're using a workers' compensation, there is a report for workers' comp. There's employee bank details that gives you a listing of employee bank details so that you can look, audit, and find errors there. There are time record totals that you can look whether or not the time records are in batch, current, or in future status, you would just have to select those parameters. We talked about the wage analysis and we talked about the deductions not taking. Regulatory reports, you have your state quarterly for your unemployment insurance. You have your federal quarterly, which produces the 941 and your Schedule B. You have your W-2s, your W-2Cs, you have your EFW-2 and EFW-2Cs. And then Infor has recently released a tax balancing report used to generate a report that includes quarter to date and year to date gross wages, taxable wages, tax withheld excess wages, pre-tax deductions, and it compares it to previous generated W-2 reports based on your configurable fields. It also gives you variances. It's a very good report to use to help balance throughout the year. You have your multiple worksite report, which generates and view supplemental statewide data by collecting. This is not it is not required by all states. You will know whether or not you are already submitting that or not. You have your current employment statistics report. This is one also is not required, but it is required for some, but optional for other states. You have your Social Security number verification, which you can use to verify employee Social Security numbers as often as you need to, but it's highly recommended that you do it before you run your W-2s. You have your new hire reporting, where you are required by law to report your new hires and rehires within a specific number time frame and report it to your state agency. Even though this you think this is a HR, it is listed under payroll. Other reports over in human resource talent, where you have missing work assignments. So it views a list of any active employees who don't have an active work assignment. You have employees with other dates, so a list of employees that have the other date field populated. Missing FTE on the primary. So this is only if they have multiple work assignments, this is only for the primary. So if the FTE is missing on that primary work assignment, you will get receive that, because that FTE is an important field. You have employee addresses that list information. You have employee allowances. So if you're using allowance, there is already a report that lists that information for you. If you're using alternate rates, there's a report that use alternate rates. And if you have other pay rate, you have a report to list all of those other pay rates. You have location changes, any changes made to locations. You have counts by employee status. There's a report for employee pay rate changes, employee organization unit changes, employee position changes. Employees that have active multiple work assignment, there's a report that pulls all that data for you. And there's an employee roster. There's also a termination audit. There's also a union membership. So if you are using unions and bargaining units, this is a report already created for you. Work assignment with default rule audit. So this is for employees that have work assignments, but in the values on your jobs and positions, you have default with override. This is a report that shows you anybody that have those fields that are out of sync. Also, there's a work assignment with geo dimensions mismatch. So basically, it shows you anybody that has a expense account that is different from on the work assignment and the HR org unit. And then there's an employee history report that shows you all the fields for that employee, the history, the action, when it was key, the effective date. Infor has now transitioned to moving the majority of all reports under the report catalog. So they're not under the rows. Most these reports, you can find all these reports either in the report catalog under human resources or under payroll. And Molly.
Thanks, Mona, and thanks, Kelly, for monitoring the chat. If you guys find that you have further questions down the road, please keep our Coffee with Consultants offering in mind. It allows 30 minutes of complimentary time with one of our consultants to get questions answered or solve a pain point. You can go to our website and sign up, or you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the right person. And then this was our first session in May for Informative Friday. Hopefully you can join us for our remaining sessions this month. Please reach out to me if you need help registering. And then finally, hopefully if you get a chance to go to Infor Connect, you can look for our team there. Doug, Dave, and Luke, and Kelly will also be there. So please look for them, introduce yourself. We'd love to get a chance to talk to you there. Thank you again for your time today and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Molly. Thanks,
Mona.
Mona.
Thank you, guys.
Great job. Thank you.
Stop the recording, Molly.